Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of ITG Talks. I'm Romy Dow.
And I'm Sarah Simhan, and we would like to welcome Elie Gharios, General Manager of Klareo. Hello Elie.
Hi Romy.
Hi, Elie.
Hi Sarah.
Welcome to ITG Talks. How are you?
Great, and you?
Good.
Glad to be with you today.
Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Yep.
So Elie, tell us a bit about yourself and what led you to the world of logistics and supply chain technology.
Cool. So I'm Elie Gharios, as you said. I never planned a career into supply chain. Actually, I have an engineering background. What brought me to supply chain is just the fact that I worked for a company that used to develop software solutions for supply chain. I spent like 12 years with this company, and then I left the company for other adventures, working on HR solutions, and I ended up with Amazon.
Okay.
So back to the supply chain and to the supply chain solutions. And finally, it's a word I like, because I like the challenge of the supply chain. I like how complex it is. And I like how complex it is to bring solutions to this world. So this is why we came up with the Klareo idea or adventure. And this is why I'm back to supply chain.
Okay.
Elie, can you tell us when was Klareo created and how it started? In addition to what was ITG's holding role in that?
So, as I said, I worked for 12 years with a company that developed software solutions in France. It's a French company actually that develops software solutions for the supply chain. It was mainly focused on warehouse management system, transportation management system, a bit on the provisioning, forecasting, etc. And while working with this company, obviously, I was the GM of the company. I had to deal with large accounts in France, dealing with their supply chain problem, like accounts like Bristol Myers Squibb, AstraZeneca, Leclerc, Monoprix, Auchan.
So big names.
Okay, big names, big problems. Okay. So when you work for 12 years with these clients, they become somehow your connections or your friends even. Okay. So even when I left the company, I kept in touch with those people. And although I went, as I said, to other adventures in HR, in accounting solutions, I kept working as a consultant for these companies and consultant in supply chain. And somehow what the new trend that was it started in 2015. It started to get really trendy, if we can talk about trends in France in 2015, was the last mile optimization. Okay. And as weird as it might look, those companies are much more used and much more in control of the traditional supply chain. So how to manage warehouses, how to manage your network of warehouses, how to manage your national transportation. The main difference between them and Amazon is that their history is built around physical locations. And the whole, the main challenge they used to deal with is global optimization, worldwide organization of the supply chain, or even national organization of how to move the products from warehouse to warehouse or from warehouse to the physical locations. Dealing with the last mile, or with the home delivery, as some might call it, is totally different. And these companies were somehow, if I can say it like this, lost in how to deal with it. They tried, and we as software solution providers also tried to apply the same recipes to this last mile. But we quickly understood that you cannot apply these same recipes that are very efficient on a worldwide scale to this small last mile. In addition to this, French regulations started putting in place some constraints and conditions on how to access the cities, how to manage the traffic, because everybody can
go and make those
can go and work on deliveries, but there are some existing infrastructures that needs to be adapted to the volume that was being created.
Okay.
So Based on this experience, or based on this finding, it was clear that everybody is going to go into home delivery.
Yes.
Like all the historical physical locations were moving, or physical commerce was moving to e-commerce. At the same time that Amazon was moving from e-commerce to physical locations, so they had to meet somewhere. Okay? And this somewhere required some new solutions that at the time weren't clear. Okay, and that even today are not very clear. Okay? And this is how we came with the idea of Klareo. Let's create a French player that can go global, and that can provide solutions for today's problem, but that is organized in a way to be able to accompany all these companies in implementing the solutions they need tomorrow. So this is somehow was part of our slogan. Is we build your solution, we provide you with solutions for today, but we build with you your solutions for tomorrow. And this is how we imagined Klareo, and this is how we conceived.
It's the
the
DNA
company.
of your.
It's the
company.
DNA, and it's something that is actually, this is how we want it to be, and this is how 3 years later, the customers confirmed that this is why, the customers who chose us confirmed that this is why they chose Klareo. So now to your question about ITG, when we came up with the idea, so I was with Felix Sportelli, who is one of the shareholders and the CTO of the company, and Alexandre Huillard, who's also the chief product officer of the company. Alexandre and Felix are, Alexandre is a PhD in operations research, applied mathematics and operations research. And I used to work with Alexandre on transportation management in a previous company. And Felix is someone I met with Sajid when he used to work on accounting software. So he was a R&D manager, and together we decided to go for this adventure. We were looking for an investor to support us. And this is how I met Claude to start with. I presented the project. Okay. Took us some time, actually it was in 2019, took us some time to come up with a business plan, to come up with the right budget and the right business plan, and launch the company. And we effectively launched the activities in March 2020.
Okay.
So this is how we met ITG. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned that in 2015, France hopped on the home delivery trend that was already established in the USA.
Yep.
So how much time did it take the French businesses to embrace this trend? And I would like to know if the last mile is the most challenging part of the whole process.
I'll start by the end. The last mile is the most challenging part of the process, and this is why actually these companies, when these retailers decided to go into the last mile, this is the main challenge they face: is how to provide the right service for the last mile. Because when we talk about last mile, let me just take like 20 seconds to present this part. When you talk about the last mile, it's not just about like, okay, I'm gonna go on a website, put an order, and then someday someone will come and deliver the order. Okay, Uber, Deliveroo, Amazon, Uber Eats set a certain standard in the market that any new retailer that wanted to join this market had to provide the same quality of service. Okay. Customers in Europe, in France, are expected, and very naturally, that when I set my order, you need to give me a given time slot where I'm gonna be delivered, and you need to send me a notification, be it an SMS or an email, but you need to notify me that you're coming. I want the ability to track the customer,
my package,
the driver. I want the ability to grade your service, like give you my feedback. I want the ability to send you instructions like, okay, I won't be here, just put it with my neighbor, or can you please leave it at the door, or please put it in the garden. So it's not just about like, let me find the right driver, send it on a motorbike, and it's done. It's not how it works. So this is why it's very complex. Now, to your main question about why 2015 in France, there's a global trend actually. Trends start in the States. So Uber is an excellent example, because Uber was booming in the States, but then when it reached France, it was in 2012, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Okay, there were popular movements to block Uber from coming to Paris. and there were even discussions and debates in the parliament about like how can we block Uber because it's taking the job of taxi drivers that are very regulated, it's polluting, it's creating traffic, it's doing. French have always a tendency to think that they can stop the course of history. and then like today, like no one moves in Paris without calling an Uber or a Free Now or a Bolt or a.
And Uber Eats.
And Uber Eats is even booming. Yes. So home delivery had the same story as Uber. French retailers were very hesitant to launch home delivery because actually it's a global trend in customer habits. Like people were not used to buying their clothes on the net, and the returns. Like when you buy clothes, you need to return them if the size doesn't fit. And there's this whole logistic about sending the product, but then giving you the possibility to return them. So
it's a hassle for them.
It was a hassle, and they were very hesitant to invest in doing it. And as I said, it's a very complex exercise. I guess they were always aware that it's a very complex additional service to provide. But then came Amazon. Amazon came and started like delivering. Actually, they were even, I was always like discussing with these people. They were convinced that home delivery won't work in France. That people want to go to the shop, to the grocery shop, want to discuss with the grocery shop. This is true, very true. And even in Paris today, you have people going to the grocery shop just to be able to discuss with the Monoprix guy or with the to communicate with these guys. But that said, when Amazon came, and told them like changed. It was the game changed, and Amazon came with this idea that today everybody is leaving behind, the idea of the quick commerce. Like put your order, I'm gonna deliver it, put an order for fresh products, and I'm gonna deliver in 40 minutes, less than 40 minutes.
Express,
the quick commerce. Okay, but today this idea is everybody understood that it was a false good idea. But that said, like everyone understood that there is something to do there, and that the growth of the market, the growth of their business is going to come from this. And Michel-Edouard Leclerc had a very famous today statement saying like I only have one competitor, it's Amazon. Okay. Although historically they used to compete among each others, like Leclerc with Auchan, with Carrefour, etc. But Michel-Edouard Leclerc had this statement in 2015, I guess. I have one real competitor, it's Amazon. Okay. So, and this is how it all started. Okay. But it was starting like slowly but surely. And actually, to answer the question, this is why in France it was complicated to bring this new concept and to invest into this new concept, and this is why it took more time than in the States.
About the culture.
It's the culture, exactly. Hesitant. It is the culture. And actually, because I know both culture, the Lebanese and French,
yes.
Like when I left in 2009, we already have this possibility to call the roadster, to call Casper and Gambini and ask for lunch and order lunch to the office. We had the possibility even to call the grocery shop and tell him like, send me 1 kilo of tomatoes or whatever, potato. This didn't exist in 2009 in France. This was like being in the office and calling someone to deliver food was just rocket science for them. It was why should we do so? So yeah, it's amazing to see how the habits change from 2010 to today.
Sure. Elie, can you tell us how the pandemic impacted the market, and what was Klareo's added value during this period?
Yeah, the very good question, because the pandemic was was very beneficial to Klareo's story, because the pandemic and it's funny because it had this impact on two things. Work from home, to take another example, was a taboo in France. Work from home was established in the States even well before the pandemic. Okay? True. And mainly in the IT software business, like you couldn't hire any software engineer if you don't offer like at least 1 or 2 days of work from home. But this was a taboo in France. I remember like in one of my previous company, I won't name companies, they were doing tests to see if you can be as efficient working from home or not, as if we're laboratory rats, like, okay? And then came the pandemic, and the same story applied to home delivery, because the pandemic obliged everyone to put in place work from home, and obliged everyone, because the only way for you to purchase your goods or to consume was through deliveries. So it pushed everyone to work from home and to delivery. And it boosted the market. It boosted the market in a... We launched Klareo March 2020, and this was a real challenge actually, because it had and also a different impact on Klareo, because we launched on March 2020, and we had to launch for a very simple reason, because Leclerc told us, listen guys, if you're gonna create this company, I'm gonna be your first customer, but you have to be ready for Jan 2021. Yeah. So,
challenging.
Yeah. So I remember I called Claude. I told him, listen, we cannot wait anymore. We have to launch now, because otherwise, if we're not ready on Jan 2021, we will lose our first main flagship client, that is Leclerc. So Claude was okay, go. We launched March 2020. We were all working from home. We had to hire people working from home. So we hired people, and there are some of the persons we hired in March 2020. Actually, we never saw physically, because they came and they left
before the pandemic.
Before the end of the pandemic. So they came, they left. We never met them physically. So we built up a team. I guess at the time we were like there were Felix, Alexandre, and I, with 5 developers, okay, working remotely and developing this solution that we successfully actually launched in January 2021. So yeah, it had this impact on making the Klareo story a bit more complicated, but it was very beneficial on the fact that it pushed everyone into home delivery, and it made home delivery the main topic. And actually we even used to see it from a sales point of view, because every time we were locked down in France, in 2021 lockdowns continued. So every time there was a lockdown, we used to receive like tens of calls. Oh, do you have a solution for us? Because we want to implement and we used to even see it on the volumes. Like Leclerc volumes were multiplied by 10 over the 3 weeks of the pandemic, and then dropping back. And this is why actually Leclerc was very happy to have this solution, because from a human point of view, it's very complicated to cope with this drastic changes in volumes, whereas if you have a software, you can very easily, like the software will adapt and analyze and come up with the right resources and make sure that you have the right resources and that you're using them in an optimal way. So it can even predict actually, because you can have the stats and the data to predict the kind of resources that you need. So they were very happy actually to have a solution and not continue doing it on an Excel sheet.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So can you share with us the solutions offered by Klareo?
Yep. So as we already said, it's a complex problem. So, and like every complex problem, if you need to solve it, you need to solve it and you need to cut it in pieces. And that's exactly what we did with the solution of Klareo. We developed a modular solution. So we have a set of modules, and each module is responsible of addressing one of the pain points or one of the issues that you need to handle if you're dealing with last mile delivery. So we have one module that's into optimizing the usage of resources and finding the most optimal, most environmental friendly, or the less impacting environmental, the less impacting from an environment point of view solution for you to realize or to implement your to deliver whatever you need to deliver. So this is one module. It's K-planning. The main objective of K-planning is to give you the optimal transportation plan for your for the deliveries that you need to do. There's another module that's K-trace, and K-trace is responsible of controlling the execution. So with K-trace you can track your orders. You can identify if there's a problem with one of your drivers, try to find a solution. You know who's doing what, and at any time you can track your driver, know where they are, communicate with them. This is K-Trace. K-Notification is a module that enables you to communicate with the end customer. So you can notify the customer that you're coming, and this is why we call it K-Notification. You can notify the customer, I'm coming. You can actually notify the customer even beforehand and ask him to take an appointment, like connect to Klareo and take an appointment on when on Tuesday he would like to be delivered, for example. Then, so these are the three main actually modules. And the fourth module that we developed with La Poste actually is also a module that differentiates Klareo's solution from all the competitors, from all its competitors. It's a module that enables you to manage urban distribution centers. This is we're sure, or we're betting that this will become a trend. In Europe, more and more, cities are looking to minimize the number of cars into the city. Okay. So it's all the more true when it comes to minimizing the number of trucks in the city. So what they're doing is that they're creating what the zones à faible émission, so low emission zones, whereby you won't be able to go into the city with a truck anymore. So what's going to happen is that you're going to have the distribution centers around the cities, and you'll do your last mile with electric bikes or electric cars or even bikes. Okay. So this module K-Relay is what enable you to manage your urban distribution center. So you can control everything you're receiving, and control everything that you're shipping from your urban distribution center and manage your distribution center. Finally, we have two other modules. One of them is for statistics, K-Analytics. So you can develop all the APIs or build all the APIs you need. And the last one is K-Billing. This is a module that we're currently still implementing. It enables you to control your invoices and control what if you're subcontracting or if you're dealing with other carriers. So you can control your bills. So these are the 5-6 modules of Klareo, and our main focus and our main objective in doing so was first to cut the problem into pieces. But it was also to enable the customer to choose whether to take all modules and which modules actually address his current needs and his future needs. But at the same time, and this is part of our pillars actually, is have a solution for all the problems.
Exactly.
So this is why we have all these modules, because we want to be a one-stop shop, like the solution for all the problems.
You have a solution for everything, for all the process.
We try to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elie, from 2020 up to our present day, can you highlight some of your key success stories?
I guess I would say the first success for us was the one at least we consider it to be a success, is the ability to develop a solution like this. We know other companies who try to develop similar solutions, who spend millions and years and are still not done yet. The idea of being able to do it with 5 developers you never met over 8 months, and it wasn't just like we celebrated internally. It was put live in managing all Leclerc's deliveries to Paris. So it wasn't a fake.
Exactly.
It was from its birth challenged into managing all Leclerc deliveries. And just to put numbers in perspective, Leclerc delivers more than 5,000 deliveries per day in Paris.
Huge number.
So yeah, so just do the math. Okay? So it was, this for us was the main success. Like, okay, in 8 months, 5 developers, we managed to develop something that others spent millions and years to develop. And the other one, and actually which comes to confirm actually this success, is that we still are a very small company compared to our competitors. And this year actually, in June, we also managed to close deals with two other major retailers in France, which are Intermarché and Système U. And just for those who don't know who these guys are, maybe you know more about Tesco or maybe Walmart. Leclerc is the French Walmart, and the other two are the number 2 and number 3 in the top 5 of the French retailers. So we have 3 out of the top 5 of French retailers. Together, these 3 have a sales turnover of $100 billion per year. Okay? So with them, we'll be managing more than, actually we did the math last time, more than 5 million deliveries per year, only with these guys. And actually when you see that we were in competition with companies that are 10 times our size and have 10 times our means, and they chose us, I guess we're
speechless, honestly.
Yeah, we can be a bit proud.
You should.
Yeah.
You took the best 3 till now.
But our ambitions are much higher than that. Yeah.
So on the subject, since we're on the subject of successes, what's on the horizon now for Klareo?
So we have a clear plan actually for Klareo. When we started, we knew that we want to start with large accounts. We knew that this was going to be our challenge, and clearly the fact of being part of ITG Group helped us in positioning ourselves, because Klareo today is still at max 20 persons. So when you're dealing with deals like that, like the fact of being part of ITG Group really helped in closing the deals. And so this was actually, I would say, initiative number 1. Initiative number 2 for us today is to make Klareo accessible for the blue ocean, or it's more of a red ocean, but at least for the mass population. Okay. Have a Klareo experience where you are just the grocery shop of the corner street, the corner store, as they say.
So no matter the size of your
exactly,
business,
you can just go
Klareo's,
download Klareo documentation, create your account, start using Klareo, and offer a service that is at the same standard as the Leclerc or as the Intermarché or the Système U. So we wanna be. It's also a huge challenge, because addressing large account is totally different than addressing the mass. But we want to be the first one who's doing both.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So which markets are you considering for expansion in the future?
I would say, if I need to answer the question directly, the world. But the question is more on how to do it. Because accessing the market by targeting large accounts systematically is very requiring from I would say, funding point of view. And this is why the mass is important, because if we manage to address the mass, then there's no limit. Like, this is the Uber example. Uber didn't have to invest millions to address the Lebanese market. You just can hire your drivers, and I guess even Lebanon was a bit more complicated than it was otherwise. But that said, you don't need if you have the right solution for the mass, then you can have no limit.
And you only need the word of mouth.
Or the right marketing.
Solution, yes, or the right marketing.
Yes, and this is why you're here. Yeah.
Okay, so Elie, what's next for ITG Holding in the European market?
So I guess Klareo was not just, and this is what we also always tell our customers in France. Klareo was not just an adventure for ITG in the world of software solution development or in supply chain. Klareo was for ITG is more of a cornerstone or a first step to address a global market, a global European market, and this is how we want to see it. The next step, now don't ask me about the timing, but the next step would be to leverage on the Klareo presence in Europe to bring other activities, other ITG activities to Europe, and maybe create the ITG Europe brand of ITG being your partner to digitalize your business globally. So I guess the plans and the ambitions of ITG are
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elie, so thank you so much. We are so glad to have you on ITG Talks, and it was really a nice talk with you.
I enjoyed the talk with you too, and I hope I brought clear answers.
You did.
Thank you. So stay tuned for our next episode and see you soon.